Hello, this is Jason with CasualT Gaming, and we are back with more Transport Fever 2. We're off to Chapter 1, Mission Number 4, Pacific Paradise, so let's roll the intro.
The west coast of Mexico at the close of the 19th century. An unassuming spot with an auspicious name, Topolobampo, with a climate milder than anywhere else. Plains as fertile as the Garden of Eden. And in the mountains, untold riches. The perfect place to make a utopia come true. A life of freedom and equality for all.
Okay, so I have started this mission once before. I didn't finish it because it was starting to get a little bit repetitive, but I think we're going to go ahead and try and work through it today, and we'll see where we end up at the end of the day.
You have just bought a patch of land from the Mexican government. Here, your vision is supposed to become a reality. A free and fair society. Together with a few like-minded people, you are going to build the city of the future in Topolobampo. It shouldn't be all that difficult, since you've already built several railway lines, successfully. Welcome to the City of Dreams. You set out to come here in order to establish a society where no one has to suffer hardship. Everything will belong to everyone and be available in abundance. Large numbers of men and women want to join you, with permission to build their dwellings precisely according to their ideas. Start off by obtaining the necessary material. Excellent raw materials can be found in the surrounding area.
Alright, so basically we need to get the logs from here over to here. Now, when I did this playthrough before, I used trucks for that, and I realized early on that that was a bit of a mistake. And in fact, what I really should have been doing is setting us up for a very large rail system to basically supply Topolobampo with all the materials that it's going to need to grow. And so instead of using a trucking system this time, I'm going to go ahead and establish that massive rail system, and it's going to be right here along the banks of this river, and we'll go ahead and get that started. It'll be both passenger rail and cargo rail, and it'll all basically flow past this silver mine. Or actually, I'm sorry, this is the silver into spoons, but the idea is it'll all flow past it for anything going this way, and then we'll cross over the river here for anything that needs to go to the other side of the banks. Or eventually, I think there's a town over here, and so what we'll do is we will eventually build a rail system here as well that'll loop in when we need to bring passengers in as well. But to start us off, we're going to do a cargo station. We're going to do, I don't think I've ever experimented with something this wide before, but let's go ahead and do 6 tracks wide. I like the idea of having a lot of room for growth. And we're going to put it right on the banks of the river, such that when we decide we need to add on the additional rail lines, we should be able to without too much work. Now, the only downside to putting way over there, and that's something that I always seem to forget, is I need to make sure we have enough road connection there. Looks like we have plenty, and then we'll tie it into this road over here. And I would never do this if we were playing in a I would never do this if we were playing in a sandbox game, I don't think. I might start with this many platforms. I might change some of these out to be passenger platforms, like maybe this last one down the road. But so yeah, let's go ahead and start off and reserve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these lines for cargo, and then we will reserve this last 6th line for passenger traffic, and I'll go ahead and swap that out at some point in the future. So let's go ahead and spend a little extra money. Oh, what I was saying is I would never do this in a sandbox mode. And the reason I wouldn't do that is because this is very wasteful in terms of money. And so I would want to be using my resources a little bit better than that if I were playing in a sandbox mode. But they give you 50 million and they just want you to accomplish the tasks. And so because of that, I feel pretty confident in kind of blowing the money. And in fact, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up a cargo station. This time we're only going to do a 2 wide, and what we'll do is we'll just put it right. We'll put it down here a little bit to give me room to curve the rails. And we'll just have both of those go in there. I think that'll be nice. And like I said, I do need to have one rail line kind of curved down this way, so let's put in a cargo station here. It could be a terminus station. What I've noticed though is terminus stations I guess they could if they're on the right. I'm sorry, if the road is on the left hand side of the terminus. If the road is on the other side, I've noticed that it doesn't actually connect. So I guess we'll go ahead and use a terminus station here. And we'll loop that line over to here. And what we'll do is we will go ahead and build, let's see, I haven't built any crossings here, so let's do that. And a crossing this way, so that we can reuse both of these lanes, both of these tracks, so to speak. Alright, and so let's go ahead and take the southernmost line and just drag it to meet here. Pretty wasteful, but I'm okay with it right now. And we'll run these 2 other lines wherever we need to run them down the road. So another building we need to set up is a train depot, and I'm going to go ahead and set that up right over here, because I want access to all of these lines of the trains, because I want to be able to deploy a train onto any particular line whenever I feel like it. I figure I might as well do it now and not have to worry about it in the future. Alright, so that gets me access to all of those lines. Now that we've got that, we're also going to obviously have to set up a road depot somewhere along here. I think I'm going to put it down over on this end of the street just to make it closer, and also since some of these lines are going to cross back over to the other side, I don't want to limit myself in that regard of how big this truck station can get. And you'll have to excuse me, I am having a bit of a cold right now, so I am a little under the weather. I guess if I put it out here a little, well, let's see, what direction can I build it where I can thereby expand? Can't build it over the water. Maybe I made a mistake by building it this far. Oh, actually this will work. Off the side street, I will lose the ability to send 2 of those rails over, but it'll give me the ability to expand out the station this way. Okay, that'll work. So let's set up 2 lines. Our first line, just because I am... Oh, I forgot one thing. I need a drop-off point in the city. and we need logs primarily in this direction. And so I want to make sure we put it in the direction of where all our logs use is going to be. Now, that covers a little bit. So let's see, we want to expand out that way. So we're going to have, we're going to add from the halt to the drop-off. And then this will be Topolobampo log delivery. And in order to facilitate that, we're going to need to install a row depot. And we'll go ahead and put that opposite the street of, and we're going to create, let's make it 5. Again, not worrying as much because we've got so much cash to play with. And then we're going to do from here to here. And then this will be Topolobampo log rail. And we'll need to buy a nice train for that. We're going to buy the fastest train, which is right now I believe the 260 Mogul. And the logs can be on the only on the flat car with side stakes. Now this guy can produce quite a few, so we're going to create a 8 cars long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're going to buy that and we're going to put it on the Topolobampo rail line. And we're going to get the game going. A few other things that we know we're eventually going to need is we're going to need to export things to the dock. We know that we've got our cactus farm, guano farm, our tequila distillery, we've got our silver manufacturing into spoons, and we've got our silver mine down here, and then we need to deliver logs to the silver mine. So that's the reason why this rail might eventually even be expanded further to have a line that loops back across here. And I think that's not terribly efficient necessarily, but we're gonna work with that eventually. So how many logs are on that train? 32, so we should accomplish this right away.
The project is growing and thriving. Thanks to the high quality materials, the buildings that have gone up look downright stately. The first settlers have moved in, and everyone is working busily to make the perfect society a reality. But a fulfilled life includes more than just work. Physical well-being, fun, and amusement are just as important. Make sure that the municipal facilities of Topolobampo are furnished with the necessary consumables. May health and a zest for life pave the way.
Alright, so the other two things they want are going to be tequila and... Oh, you have to click on
the city of the future will lure plenty of guests who want to marvel at this model of success with their own eyes. That's why the hotel should be fitted with only the finest furnishings, with stylish eating utensils, for example.
So let's go ahead and get this line set up with a line right there. That's going to be
a real streetcar, the kind they have in all the glamorous cities, would suit Topolobampo to a T. It would give the members of the community a chance to take a load off their feet.
Alright.
The streetcar is a good thing, but on no account should what the draft horses leave behind be allowed to end up in front of...
So basically they want a rail line, or I'm sorry, tram line, but they don't want the horses near the hospital and the hotel. That's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to have silver rail, and then we're going to have a second line that's going to take it from here to the city. And the reason I'm doing that is because they are two different types of train cars that need to two different kinds of train cars that need the delivery, so it doesn't make sense to do both out of one train car. What I am going to do, though, I'm going to put in a crossing somewhere along this line so I can run two trains at once, since this is almost, or maybe even three trains at once, since this is 2 or 3 times as long as the distance to here. And then this will be spoon delivery. And then what will eventually need to happen is I will need to run a line from here to drop off spoons here. And we'll go ahead and listen to what the hotel wants as well, and we'll go
The
from
men
there.
and women of the colony are strong and healthy. But in spite of that, if an emergency were to arise, it must be ensured that the surgical instruments at the hospital are guaranteed germ-free. Medical-grade alcohol can be manufactured for this purpose from the large numbers of cactuses on hand.
Yeah, medical grade alcohol, aka tequila. But we'll go ahead and do that one in just a moment as well. And like I said, I'm going to do the sidings along here. And give it a couple of crossings. And let's go ahead and clone this train twice. And we're going to create a new line with boxcars for the spoons. Yeah, so it's a production, but it's shipping. It's not shipping as quickly as it can right now because we don't have the trains for it, but it's going to get there. Alright, and then let's go ahead and make sure we build these rails on before we forget, and or before more facilities are built. Here, but they're not getting to the people. You are gonna have to go away, my friend, because I need to build a couple more cargo platforms. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this. It's because I don't have the route set up yet, so we're just going to do a truck stop. And I'll go ahead and build the truck stop over here just to be safe. And this will be spoons to hotel. And in order to do that, we're going to need to buy some vehicles. And we'll buy 5 of the cargo vehicles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these will go spoons to hotel. And then what I'll do over here is now I will put the spoons to hotel on its own terminal. And let's go ahead and set up the line for alcohol, and I'll put that on its own terminal as well. And then that way the alcohol will be delivered to its own terminal. Alright, so that's getting our hotel done. Then let's do the tequila next. We're going to do another rail. We're going to do a terminus station this time because this is kind of the end of the line. But we're going to do two because I have a feeling we might want a separate line for the guano delivery. And I'm kind of moving it a little at a weird angle because I want to hook it up to this line from over here and a line to over there. And yes, we're going to build a bridge. And then we're going to join these two lines right about
Wonderful.
here.
The fundamental needs of the community are provided for. Even more is being produced than the colony needs for itself. To enable prosperity to multiply, the surpluses produced so diligently and with lots of enthusiasm ought to be exported. Earnings from the export trade would be helpful during this crucial phase because several investments to the benefit of one and all still lie ahead. Decide which commodity you want to export overseas for the benefit of society.
I will decide that in just a moment. Alright, and the reason for this is I think I'm going to put a passenger rail on this side in a moment. We're going to do silver, just because
Silver
we've got so
spoons from
many
the legendary silver
spoons
mines in
coming
the
in.
Sierra Madre are going to be a major export hit.
And truck unload stop right there. And we'll just add that to the line. Oh, wrong line.
There are simply too many bachelors hanging around on the streets of Topolobampo. It's enormously detrimental to productivity. That's why you should see to it that their rambunctious ways are tamed. And what better way than the responsible task of starting a family?
I'll accept
When
that
people
because,
get married,
but
they
this was a really terrible side mission earlier, so I'm not sure it's worth it, but we'll find out. Okay, that's what I was afraid of. Adding it on just means that they unload everything at Mill Street, and then they have nothing left for the export. So we're gonna do that right there, and we're gonna say spoons export. Create a new line. Buy some new vehicles for that. Make sure they're set up as a new terminal. Not sure why they got moved off of Terminal 1, which is where I wanted them. And this one can also be on Terminal 1. Alright, so now we need to build this rail line. And I like running it as a double line, just because why not? And we'll need to build a train depot here, just so we have some vehicles. And we'll go ahead and put it out here. Alright, and let's create our new line. We're going to do agave to the factory. And then we'll have a new line that goes from El Fuerte down to Topolobampo, and I don't have the little connector over here, but this will be Tequila. And I'll build that rail right now. Lots of crossings in case I need them. And let's go ahead and build this vehicle. And remembering that for the agave we need the boxcar, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's going to be agave rail. And then for the tequila we can actually use the same train, so we'll buy another one and we'll put this one on the tequila rail, which I will correct the spelling of. Alright, what seems to be our problem here? I think we might have a lack of signaling, which let's go ahead and try to take care of. Is that what the issue is? No. There we go. Alright, so that fixed that. Train 5 is supposed to be carrying spoons, which are now really building up right here. Alright, let's maybe send train 5 to... Okay. Let's maybe send train 5 to the bank and then reestablish this line, because I think that's where we're getting into trouble. Where I want it from Topolobampo branch to here, and I want them on train terminal 1 and terminal 2, and that'll be spoon rail. And we haven't exported any spoons since we haven't had any spoons. To export at all, so that makes sense why we haven't exported any. See, this is something that bothers me. Why are all of the barrels being exported only to that first to this one spoons to hotel line? I guess I should manage the line and tell them only load spoons. There we go. Maybe that'll start splitting things up a little bit better. Oh, Tequila has no vehicles. That would be why they're not loading that tequila. That's a very busy stop, so let's actually give them another exit. See if they'll take it. Okay, we're finally exporting. Silver spoons. Alright, and I think this is where we're going to have to call it for today. We're going to have to take a break here and say this is part 1. This seems to be a more complicated map than normal. So please remember to like, comment, subscribe if you would, and I will see you guys next time.